first boat I ever fished on, Gladys R. This was back in 1975. Bobby had a direct gaze and was slightly bow-legged. He was just starting to go gray then. He told me he was from Chiniga, up in Prince William Sound, but the tidal wave in 1964 had messed up the village pretty bad, and they had all had to leave. That's how I ended up down here in Kodiak, he said. We left the harbor on a sunny April morning and went down the coast, down the east side of the island, the mountains white against the blue sky. We anchored up in a quiet bay as evening fell around us. The light was going, it was getting hard to see. What's that? To the right. A house, said Bobby. Kodiak Village. Before the tidal wave, people lived here like in Chiniga. He lit a cigarette, looked at me. You know, young man, what you see isn't off to the right. It's off to starboard. You're on a boat. Try to remember that. One afternoon, I was taking pictures as we passed by a two-headed island. There was an old wreck there, and from a mile off, the white hull was like a seashell on a black beach. They caught on fire a few years ago, said Bobby. Some of them didn't make it. When I wondered if maybe we could go ashore sometime and kind of poke around, Bobby took a drag on a cigarette. Young man, maybe you should put that camera away and go chop some bait. If you're lucky, this is as close as you ever get to a wreck like that. In later years, I used to see Bobby sometimes sitting by the door of the old city market, waiting for his ride back down to the senior center. His hair was white, he had a cane, diabetes had messed up his legs. They wouldn't let him smoke anymore either. He had taken to carving delicately beautiful 2-foot versions of the eluded kayaks that his grandfather had once built in Chiniga. He sold the models for folding money. Once, when my daughter was small, we ran into Bobby at the market. She stared at the thing in his old brown hands. That's a bidarki, he said. That's how my people used to get around in the old days. My daughter is 18 now. Last spring we found ourselves in this exhibit at the Smithsonian. It's called Looking Both Ways. On a wall in 12-inch letters was this, in quotes. I remember the ladies sitting in the houses laughing and sewing. You know, everybody helped everybody. Bobby stamped. It was an exhibit about the eluded culture. A little further on, there were pictures of old Chiniga and Kodiak before the tidal wave. And I could hear Bobby's voice in the soft light of an evening 30 years ago. Oh, man, you need to pay attention. You could learn something if you just open your eyes.